of uranium, may eventually undergo fission itself. Inside this is fusion fuel itself, usually a form of lithium deuteride, which is used because it is easier to weaponize than liquefied tritium-deuterium gas. This dry fuel, when bombarded by neutrons, produces tritium, a heavy isotope of hydrogen that can undergo nuclear fusion, along with the deuterium present in the mixture. See the article Nuclear Fusion for a more detailed technical discussion of fusion reactions. Inside the layer of fuel is the spark plug, a hollow column of fissile material, 239Pu or 235U, often boosted by deuterium gas. The spark plug, when compressed, can itself undergo nuclear fission. Because of the shape, it is not a critical mass without compression. The tertiary, if one is present, would be set below the secondary and probably be made of the same materials. 11, 12. Separating the secondary from the primary is the interstage. The fissioning primary produces four types of energy. 1. Expanding hot gases from high explosive charges that implode the primary. 2. Superheated plasma that was originally the bomb's fissile material and its tamper. 3. The electromagnetic radiation. And 4. The neutrons from the primary's nuclear detonation. The interstage is responsible for accurately modulating the transfer of energy from the primary to the secondary. It must direct the hot gases, plasma, electromagnetic radiation and neutrons toward the right place at the right time. Less than optimal interstage designs have resulted in the secondary failing to work entirely on multiple shots, known as a fissile fizzle. The Castle-Coombe shot of Operation Castle is a good example. A small flaw allowed the neutron flux from the primary to prematurely begin heating the secondary, weakening the compression enough to prevent any fusion. Classified paper by Teller and Ulam on the 9th of March, 1951, on heterocatalytic detonations I, hydrodynamic lenses and radiation mirrors, in which they proposed their revolutionary staged implosion idea. This declassified version is extensively redacted. There is very little detailed information in the open literature about the mechanism of the interstage. One of the best sources is a simplified diagram of a British thermonuclear weapon similar to the American W-80 warhead. It was released by Greenpeace in a report titled Dual-Use Nuclear Technology. 13. The major components and their arrangement are in the diagram, though details are almost absent. What scattered details it does include likely have intentional omissions or inaccuracies. They are labeled end cap and neutron focus lens and reflector wrap. The former channels neutrons to the 235U/239Pu spark plug, while the latter refers to an X-ray reflector, typically a cylinder made of an X-ray opaque material such as uranium with the primary and secondary at either end. It does not reflect like a mirror. Instead, it gets heated to a high temperature by the X-ray flux from the primary. Then it emits more evenly spread X-rays that travel to the secondary, causing what is known as radiation implosion. In Ivy Mike, gold was used as a coating over the uranium to enhance the black body effect. 14. Next comes the reflector /neutron gun carriage. The reflector seals the gap between the neutron focus lens, in the center, and the outer casing near the primary. It separates the primary from the secondary and performs the same function as the previous reflector. There are about 6 neutron guns, seen here from Sandia National Laboratories, 15, each protruding through the outer edge of the reflector with one end in each section. All are clamped to the carriage and arranged more or less evenly around the casing circumference. The neutron guns are tilted so the neutron emitting end of each gun end is pointed towards the central axis of the bomb. Neutrons from each neutron gun pass through and are focused by the neutron focus lens towards the center of primary in order to boost the initial fissioning of the plutonium. A polystyrene polarizer / plasma source is also shown, see below. The first U.S. government document to mention the interstage was only recently released to the public, promoting the 2004 initiation of the Reliable Replacement Warhead Program. A graphic includes blurbs describing the potential advantage of ARW on a part-by-part level, with the interstage blurb saying a new design would replace toxic, brittle material and expensive special material that require unique facilities. 16. The toxic, brittle material is widely assumed to be beryllium, which fits that description and would also moderate the neutron flux from the primary. Some material to absorb and re-radiate the X-rays in a particular manner may also be used. 17. Candidates for the special material are polystyrene and a substance called Fogbunk, an unclassified code name. Fogbunk's composition is classified, though aerogel has been suggested as a possibility. It was first used in thermonuclear weapons with the W-76 thermonuclear warhead and produced at a plant in the Y-12 complex at Oak Ridge, Tennessee, for use in the W-76. Production of Fogbunk lapsed after the W-76 production run ended. The W-76 life extension program required more Fogbunk to be made. This was complicated by the fact that the original Fogbunk's properties were not fully documented, so a massive effort was mounted to reinvent the process. An impurity crucial to the properties of the old Fogbunk was omitted during the new process. Only close analysis of new and old batches revealed the nature of that impurity. The manufacturing process used acetonitrile as a solvent, which led to at least 3 installations of the Fogbunk plant in 2006. Widely used in the petroleum and pharmaceutical industries, acetonitrile is flammable and toxic. Y12 is the sole producer of Fogbunk. 18. Summary. A simplified summary of the above explanation is a relatively small fission bomb known as the primary explodes. Energy released in the primary is transferred to the secondary, or fusion, stage. This energy compresses the fusion fuel and spark plug. The compressed spark plug becomes supercritical and undergoes a fission chain reaction, further heating the compressed fusion fuel to a higher temperature to induce fusion. Energy released by the fusion events continues heating the fuel, keeping the reaction going. The fusion fuel of the secondary stage may be surrounded by a layer of additional fuel that undergoes fission when hit by the neutrons from the reactions within. These fission events account for about half of the total energy released in typical designs. Compression of the secondary. The basic idea of the Taylor-Ulam configuration is that each stage would undergo fission or fusion, or both, and release energy, much of which would be transferred to another stage to trigger it. How exactly the energy is transported from the primary to the secondary has been the subject of some disagreement in the open press, but is thought to be transmitted through the X-rays and gamma rays that are emitted from the fissioning primary. This energy is then used to compress the secondary. The crucial detail of how the X-rays create the pressure is the main remaining disputed point in the unclassified press. There are 3 proposed theories: radiation pressure exerted by the X-rays. This was the first idea put forth by Howard Morland in the article in the Progressive. X-rays creating a plasma in the radiation channel's filler, a polystyrene or Fogbunk plastic foam. This was a second idea put forward by Chuck Hansen and later by Howard Morland. Tamper forward/pusher ablation. This is the concept best supported by physical analysis. Radiation pressure. The radiation pressure exerted by the large quantity of X-ray photons inside the closed casing might be enough to compress the secondary. Electromagnetic radiation such as X-rays or light carries momentum and exerts a force on any surface it strikes. The pressure of radiation at the intensities seen in everyday life, such as sunlight striking a surface, is usually imperceptible. But at the extreme intensities found in a thermonuclear bomb, the pressure is enormous. For two thermonuclear bombs for which the general size and primary characteristics are well understood, the Ivy Mike test bomb and the modern W-80 cruise missile warhead variant of the W-61 design, the radiation pressure was calculated to be 73,106 bar, 7.3 T-par, for the Ivy Mike design, and 1,40106 bar, 140 T-par, fourth W-80. 19. Foam plasma pressure. Foam plasma pressure is the concept that Chuck Hansen introduced during the progressive case, based on research that located declassified documents listing special foams as liner components within the radiation chassis of thermonuclear weapons. The sequence of firing the weapon with the foam would be as follows: the high explosives surrounding the core of the primary fire, compressing the fissile material into a supercritical state and beginning the fission chain reaction. The fissioning primary emits thermal X-rays, which reflect along the inside of the casing, irradiating the polystyrene foam. The irradiated foam becomes a hot plasma, pushing against the tamper of the secondary, compressing it tightly, and beginning the fission chain reaction in the spark plug. Pushed from both sides, from the primary and the spark plug, the lithium deuteride fuel is highly compressed and heated to thermonuclear temperatures. Also, by being bombarded with neutrons, each lithium-6 Li atom splits into one tritium atom and one alpha particle. Then begins a fusion reaction between the tritium and the deuterium, releasing even more neutrons and a huge amount of energy. The fuel undergoing the fusion reaction emits a large flux of high-energy neutrons, 17.6 MeV, 2.82 pJ, which irradiates the 238U tamper, or the 238U bomb casing, causing it to undergo a fast fission reaction, providing about half of the total energy. This would complete the fission-fusion sequence. Fusion, unlike fission, is relatively clean. It elapses energy but no harmful radioactive products or large amounts of nuclear fallout. The fission reactions, especially the last fission reactions, release a tremendous amount of fission products and fallout. If the last fission stage is omitted, by replacing the uranium tamper with one made of lead, for example, the overall explosive force is reduced by approximately half, but the amount of fallout is relatively low. The neutron bomb is a hydrogen bomb with an intentionally thin tamper, allowing as many of the fast fusion neutrons as possible to escape. Foam plasma mechanism firing sequence. Warhead before firing, primary, fission bomb, at top, secondary, fusion fuel, at bottom, all suspended in polystyrene foam. High explosive fires in primary, compressing plutonium core into supercriticality and beginning a fission reaction. Fission primary emits X-rays that are scattered along the inside of the casing, irradiating the polystyrene foam. Polystyrene foam becomes plasma, compressing secondary, and plutonium spark plug begins to fission. Compressed and heated, lithium-6 deuteride fuel produces tritium, 3H, and begins the fusion reaction. The neutron flux produced causes the 238U tamper to fission. A fireball starts to form. Current technical criticisms of the idea of foam plasma pressure focus on unclassified analysis from similar high-energy physics fields that indicate that the pressure produced by such a plasma would only be a small multiplier of the basic photon pressure within the radiation case, and also that the known foam materials intrinsically have a very low absorption efficiency of the gamma-ray and X-ray radiation from the primary. Most of the energy produced would be absorbed by either the walls of the radiation case or the tamper around the secondary. Analyzing the effects of that absorbed energy led to the third mechanism, ablation. Tamper pusher ablation. The outer casing of the secondary assembly is called the tamper pusher. The purpose of a tamper in an implosion bomb is to delay the expansion of the reacting fuel supply, which is very hot dense plasma, until fuel is fully consumed and the explosion runs to completion. The same tamper material serves also as a pusher in that it is the medium by which the outside pressure, force acting on the surface area of the secondary, is transferred to the mass of fusion fuel. The proposed tamper pusher ablation mechanism posits that the outer layers of the thermonuclear secondary tamper pusher